Well, the Making Reagan podcast continues today with my friend Scott Stapp of the band Creed, as well as, of course, a solo artist, among many other things that you've been doing in your life. Scott, welcome.
Good to be here, Mark.
It's so good to see you. We've been friends for, gosh, how many years? 15 years? I don't know.
15 plus, going on 16.
We've had a lot of fun over the years. And here you are. Thanks for coming out to this set to play. Well, tell us what you played today.
I did, I guess, kind of a Sinatra role. I was a singer at the, what is it, Coconut Lounge.
What it's the Coconut Grove.
Coconut Grove.
Right. I don't know.
And something that probably an event or a party or something that Reagan was at, something that Sinatra might have done. Those were the circles that Reagan ran in at that period in his life when we shot that scene, and it was awesome. It was exciting to do, and it was exciting to be a part of, and the set and the wardrobing and just everything was just so detailed and perfect, and you really felt like you were back. I felt like, and I think everyone else probably did too, like we were back in the late 1940s, so there was a performance piece for me while Dennis came in and did his scene and a dance and kind of a mingle session. So it was exciting. It was fun. Everyone has just been so professional and also just fun to be around. Dennis is such a great guy. So friendly, so gracious, so amazing to the rest of the no matter who you are, whether it's you're standing there from catering to makeup to another actor to a stand-in to whomever you are on the set. I saw him just speaking to everyone and complimenting people on how beautiful they looked and just what an amazing attitude and it just gave a good vibe to the set and to everyone today. So it was a lot of fun.
He really is a great guy, I can tell you. But you both are, and you being in the rock world and him being in the acting world. And it's funny because he's dipping his toes in the music world and you're dipping your toes in the film world. Right?
Yes.
Life is strange. You just never know where it's going to take you. And he was thinking about doing music or film and just happened to go on the music path.
Yeah.
That's the film path, of course. So obviously you've been in the music world primarily, but do you think you're going to start doing more film, more TV, more acting?
Well, it's definitely something that I was dipping my toes in all the way back, a few years prior to us meeting, and was, looking at various roles and did some small pieces in some television shows in other countries and whatnot, trying to develop my chops and stuff years and years ago. And then life took a different path for a while, and now it's something that I'm definitely wanting to explore and have had some opportunities presented to me, and when you called, it was things are just beginning to line up, and so.
Well, your music videos have always been very theatrical, very movie-like, right? I think back to Higher. I mean, there's a lot going on there. There was. And Eyes
My
Wide
Sacrifice,
Open.
Arms Wide Open, yeah.
Right. Bombs exploding all over you, one of those, remember that?
I think for me, starting out when I first began to sing, it was acting in theater with singing. It was musicals. And so there was an acting component and a singing component, and that started at 9, and that's what I primarily did through, when it came to music, through my teenage years. So it's something that I've always wanted to take a step further, and let's see what happens.
Well, it's been great having you around here, and I know that Dennis is going to want to connect with you on music in the future.
Yeah,
He's working on another record, and we're going to do a song for the Inspired By soundtrack. Hopefully we'll have one from you, but also from Dennis. I want each of the, like the Passion of the Christ we did together,
Yeah.
to have each of the artists. I love the idea of an artist watching a movie and feeling inspired,
Yeah.
and writing something.
Yeah.
And like we did for, what was the song we did? Relearn
Relearn
Love.
Love, yeah.
Right, Relearn Love.
Yeah.
We had so much fun. It was such a crazy time. I remember we brought you into Mel's office, and you played a couple of tracks for him. And Mel was not a pop culture person. He didn't know a lot of people.
Right.
I remember bringing in Dave Mustaine of Megadeth, and he had no idea who this was.
Right.
He didn't know what a Megadeth was, and maybe even you too. No reflection on you, of course. But the next day, his kids said, "Dad, do you know who was in yesterday?" And he's like, "No." And it was just, he just says no idea.
Yeah.
But you delivered a great song. And it was a lot of fun. And here we are, many years later. I'd love to hear from you. You grew up in the Reagan era, as
Yeah.
I did. What does this all mean? What does he mean to you? And just from what you've seen today, what does it remind you of or conjure up memories of?
Well, I have very, very fond memories of Reagan. I specifically remember as a child how he made me feel when I would see him speak on TV to the nation. I remember feeling as if he was my grandfather. He was a father figure. I felt he made me feel safe. He comforted me when he spoke. He made me smile. He had such grace and dignity and eloquence and wit when he spoke, and that was even recognizable to me as a child. Those were the days when we were so afraid of the Russians, nuking
Right.
the United States. So, in elementary school, we were doing the drills where, we'd get underneath our desks, to protect ourselves from the Russian nukes. That was going to help. But that was all, the Reagan years. And that was the period, that was my formative developmental years. I've been such a passionate advocate and fan of Reagan as I've matured and really learned more about him when I was older, about his presidency, who he was as a human being, and what he stood for. And it lines up with what I stand for. Many things, the vast majority of things. And so I'm definitely a big fan of him as a president, and what a legacy, and I'm so happy to be a part of this film.
What do you think of Quaid? Do you think we're pulling it off? It's tough. It's tough to get. It's hard because you don't want it to be like an SNL impression.
Yeah, right. Right.
And I remember the first day I watching Dennis's performance. I went up to him and I said, "Don't forget to be Dennis Quaid."
Right.
Because that's it. But yeah, what do you think just from what you've observed so far?
He's such a talented actor. Just being around him today, prior to our scene, he stayed in character. Of course we.
Oh, you mean off? He was.
Oh,
okay, interesting.
Off camera.
Yeah.
We had maybe 5 minutes of catching up and talking shop and music, and then he just went right into character. And then there was maybe 3 or 4 minutes of Reagan right there in front of me prior to us getting into the scene. And so he's dialed in, and I think he's going to pull it off, man.
Knock on wood.
He looks it, and you can tell he's really studied the man. And you're right. He does have a Quaid flair, but it fits. There's definitely some symmetry in their swagger, so to speak, and in their mannerisms and the way that they carry themselves. And so,
yeah, it's a tough thing when it's somebody that people remember.
Yeah,
it's one thing to pay Abraham Lincoln because who's alive that remembers him.
Right. You're right. It's tough. It's like we were talking about. Me singing Sinatra. That's a daunting task. That's something I would rather, to be honest with you.
Oh, you pulled it off.
I would. It's man. You give it your best shot.
That's a pretty good analogy, though. Playing Sinatra and playing Reagan; those are both tough shoes to fill.
Yeah, it's just you want to do it justice, and not take away who you're playing and the icon that they were, because people know the voice, they know the man, they know the mannerisms, they know the aura, so you just want to bring that.
Yeah. Well, here's where I think there's some analogies maybe between your life and Reagan's life, that you've had ups and downs over the years. Mm-hmm. You've had some hard times, some great times. I think in the movie, the thing about Reagan is, I remember early on thinking, a lot of people have dark sides, right? And Reagan's it's hard to find the dark side. And pretty soon we all kind of gave up. There is no real dark side. But, in fact, here's a story. One of the biographers said she was so excited because she finally found somebody, a hotel clerk, who said he was really rude to me when he checked into his hotel. She's like, finally, I've got the guy being, a jerk.
Right.
And then the hotel clerk said, well, the next morning he came out and apologized to me. Right. And it was like, oh,
being human.
Yeah, shoot. But,
right.
But so there aren't these sort of obvious Nixonian, Clintonian, Trumpian character flaws. But the character flaw, if there is one, is that he's kind of washed up at 50. And he hasn't really made it. And, his mom had always told him he's going to do something great. And he's divorced. He's got 2 kids. He's kind of out of money. And that helps to make it real to us. Even the Bible is full of all these horrendous things great people do, right? Killing people, neighbor's wife, all that stuff. And so I feel like that's part of what we try to capture, because nobody wants to see a movie about Superman. You have to have the Clark Kent but you've had some rough times in your life. How did that shape you and help you take you to the next level where you were supposed to go?
Right. Well, it definitely has been a trial by fire. I had such rapid success at such an early age, at such a massive level, without a support structure around me, without a family, without siblings, without friends and others that were there to help kind of put a boundary and keep me in check. So I was just flying by the seat of my pants, and then also, getting further and further away from my core values, slowly but surely, one bite of the apple at a time, and I used to remember justifying in my conversations with God, well, Solomon did it, and look how wise he became, and look how much he had to offer.
Because he had like hundreds of wives,
right? And he got into the occult, and he got into,
God, some had 900 wives. What about me?
And it's funny how we rationalize or can, some of us, our sin, and it got a hold of me. When you go out and you dance in the devil's playground without being in the right place and having a proper army with you. You try to do it alone. I talk about it in a song off my new record, Purpose for Pain. I fought the devil and he won. I can't fight the devil alone. And so I definitely had a dark period in my life. It was highly public. I feel like every time I made a mistake, it happened to make the 6 o'clock news. When I joke about that, because they're like, you're so boring for 6 or 8 months, and then so people would think that was daily, and it's just like this weekend binge you go on, and the rest is history. And but I definitely have had that, and it's taught me so much. It's really brought things into perspective, and in what really matters in terms of family. And faith, and just prioritizing, things in my life that truly matter, and then taking those experiences, and not using them and looking at them as something that still brings shame or guilt or something that I want to shy away from, but taking that mess and turning it into a message. Using that experience to share with young people my age, and anyone going through similar situations. That we're not defined by our mistakes and our falls if we choose not to be. It's what we do moving forward, and they can make us, not to be too cliche, much stronger. And you know, there always seems to be a reason when you start really looking from 1,000 feet high, or as high as you can. You know, gazing down at your life and what you've been through, and then you start seeing how, you know, you're paying that forward in your conversation with someone else, because I wouldn't have had that to offer them had I not experienced what I experienced. And so I'm finding that you know, being of service to others and being there for others, you know, I'm able to be that support, to be that friend, and help where I can, and so I you know, can't say I wish certain things didn't happen, but they did, and they've made me who I am, and definitely made me a better person than I was before.
I just every once in a while see these pictures of just this great family life. You're doing Little League. You're out there being a great dad. I know as COVID has hit all of us, but it's particularly hit you guys in the music world, right, as far as touring. Yeah,
there's been no touring, and right now there's none on the horizon. I just, you know, rescheduled a tour I had. Literally would be leaving for Europe right now, and it's not going to happen until 2022.
2022?
Yeah, the first quarter of 2022.
Wow.
You know, everything's still up in the air about the first half of next year.
So it's a different season. This is a dad at home season.
Yeah.
Right. You get to record, but you're spending a lot of time with your kids.
And I am. I've got, you know, we've got a new addition. He's going to be 3 now. But, you know, to have been home nearly, you know, a year and a half every day of his life. And it happened to be the first, you know, 6, 7 months, 8 months of his life, I was making a record. And so, you know, I've been home pretty much his entire life. And you know, being there for Daniel, my 10-year-old, and being able to coach his baseball and his football teams, being able to be there for my teenage daughter now, who's 13, and she's not only just like another mother and our mother hen in the house, but loves music, and she's playing piano and guitar, and you know, she also plays tennis, and being a part of her life, and seeing my children just develop and grow, and being able to be present. You know, that's another thing that I value so much about this season in my life, is I feel like I'm the most present than I've ever been. You know, for so many years, sure, I was there, but you know, I'll be honest. You know, I may have, you know, been slightly under the influence, or you know, had a few drinks in me, and that's not being there. You know, so I you know, I feel things that I feel like, especially with little Anthony, that you know, sometimes I feel I missed out on. You know, in my 20s and in my 30s with my oldest, and so it's just it's the calm before the storm, and so I think a lot is getting ready to come, but I think this time has been good to just kind of be grounded, and you know, fortunately, you know, we've been blessed that we could take this time.
Not everybody can do that.
Not everyone could, and my heart goes out to those that are struggling. But you know, it's been a blessing, man.
What is this? Is this a creative? Speaking of creativity, is this a good time to write songs during this kind of a time?
You know, it took a period. It took some time for that to come. You know, because I was right off tour. I just finished a record, you know, a little over a year ago. And normally you tour a record for a 2-year cycle. And then you go in the 3rd year and, you know, make another one if you're going to pump them out like that. So to not even get a full year of touring a new record, and then, I was still absorbing and processing everything, which is typically what I do. It's my process, and then it begins to flow. So, the first 6 months of this year was just, processing what's going on in the world. And there's so many things going on in the world outside of COVID, but that is, of course, the main issue right now. But just processing all that, and I would say it was probably around July. It was like, I feel it coming. Things are going to start popping out, and usually I do get a sense and an instinct, and I feel like, and then it just did. And ideas and melodies and lyrics and songs have been just popping out, and that's the way I like to create. I don't like to force it. I like it just to be a natural, something that's spontaneous and just comes from the soul and the spirit or the gut in the moment. And so I've got hundreds of ideas in my phone. Used to write everything down. Now it's dictate and sing melodies and sing guitar riffs and sing time signatures and so I'll have to go through all those and begin that process, which I'm meeting with management Friday to set up my schedule and when I'm going to begin tracking and recording. And so I'm going to be going through all this stuff and playing it all out and developing and refining and then God willing, next year we'll be able to get back on the road and have a new record.
Well, don't forget, I want a song for the Inspired By soundtrack for this film. I think you had an idea a while back about the word walls, something about walls, right? You had something percolating about that.
Something about
Maybe
that.
Something else will come up.
That would definitely fit with Reagan, and what he was all about. Even applied more to just him in everything that he was about, not just that specific thing that we all remember, tear down these walls. I think that was a statement that applied to so many things that he stood for. And so, that is an interesting concept to build off of.
It's funny, one of his aides, they traveled to the wall in the late 70s. I think he was 79. And he said to his aide, I think it was Dick Allen, one of these guys told me that Reagan turned to him and said, "We've got to find a way to bring this down." And the aide was like, "Yeah, that's nice. Nice idea." And I remember watching Tear Down This Wall, that speech in 87,
right,
thinking, well, that's a nice thought. But that's so crazy. It's not even in the realm of possibility.
Right.
It's like saying, stop gravity or something.
Yeah.
I did not think that was even possible in my lifetime.
I don't think anyone did.
Yeah. Except he did. Like, he actually believed it.
He believed it, and he spoke it into reality.
Right.
And I think there was a will within him that probably only those that were in his presence could sense and feel. And I think it was him and greater than him all in one.
Yeah. Not to be too dramatic, but you and I grew up around the same time, and I remember around 86, 7, 8, everybody in public life was falling. Like the televangelists and the politicians, and of course Watergate earlier. Right. Jimmy Carter gets run out of office.
Right.
And I remember with Reagan, there was a moment in the Iran-Contra thing.
Yep, Oliver North.
When it was like, and it was like, is this guy going to let us down too?
Right.
And anyway, he took a different path. In the film we talk about, he comes and just says, I screwed up and hope you'll forgive me, and which, Nixon and others didn't do. So it was interesting that at that moment, where we were just about to be let down by another guy in the 80s, he took a different route.
Right.
But you remember those times,
yeah,
I think.
I do, and you tell me if I'm wrong. His heart was in the right place. You know what I mean? It wasn't a con job. It wasn't a search for power or greed or corruption. It was his heart. He was trying to do right by America, and what he believed in, his conscience. And so,
Yeah,
but I definitely remember the testimony and Oliver North and
his secretary Fawn Hall.
Yeah,
I was like, there's definitely a scandal coming, and it didn't come.
Yeah,
it was like they weren't fooling around. That was kind of surprising because we were at that moment. I just think we were so exhausted, especially when the televangelists.
There was Jimmy Swaggart. Jimmy Swaggart, Jim Baker,
and actors, whatever you kind of expected. But when even the televangelists are getting weird, it just like it was overload for us who lived through that.
Yeah, but you know what? We're all human.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's true. That I think that also comes from the Bible. Well, of course, your fans and people who hear this may want to know: is there a Creed reunion in the future one day? Is that something you'll ever do again, or are you sticking solo career, or do both? Or
if there's ever an announcement to be made about that. I will text you, Mark.
We'll do it on this podcast.
But right now I'm just focused on my solo career. And
how many albums have you done post Creed solo albums?
I've done 3 solo, 1 with another band, and so I've done 4. And the
5th you're working on now.
I'll be working on the fourth solo, 5th record outside of Creed.
How is a solo song different from a Creed song? Is it different?
It's just I write Creed songs with Mark Tremonti. He's my collaborator. And my solo records I write with different guys. I write with different guitar players. The single off my current solo record, the first single, Purpose for Pain, I wrote with a guitar player called Kevin Thrasher from Escape the Fate. He goes by just Thrasher. But I've got a great guitar player I've been with now for 5 years. And his name is Yannis Papadopoulos from Athens, Greece. And we've written quite a few songs together, and it sometimes it can take a little while to develop a chemistry, and so the process remains the same for me no matter who it is that I'm working with.
Well, it's been a great pleasure to have you here on the set today. I saw when you were doing during that song, I saw the Great Divide cover. You did that same great pose on the cover of that. So,
did I?
And the outfit you had on today, it was so great. It was like this tux, the black and white tux, right? I can't wait for your fans to see it. And
it was cool,
and
man.
It's a lot of fun. I hope you saw that this is not a serious movie all the time. We have a lot of fun.
Oh, it was a lot of fun.
And both
totally.
on the set and in the movie itself, the great glamour of the 40s.
Yeah, totally.
Makes you want to live in that era.
It
These
sure
days,
does.
we're just kind of schlepping around. We're all in sweats. And
I know.
Back then, they knew how to dress up and look awesome.
Everyone dressed up, and
flight attendants always say in the old days, people would come to airplane flights just dressed to the nines, and now we're just like butt cracks showing, whatever, everything hanging out, and it's where we've lost this sense of glamour, but we'll try to bring it back with this movie and your scene. Scott, thanks so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me, man.